All right, today we are diving deep into the playbook for what is, let's be honest, one of the toughest jobs out there, being a multi-unit leader. We've sifted through some of the absolute best leadership books to pull out the key ideas that are going to help you not just manage, but truly lead your entire area. Let's get right into it.
So let's just start with the biggest question on the table. You are probably a rock star running a single store, right? And now you're overseeing an entire region. It feels different, doesn't it? The skills that made you a great manager aren't necessarily the ones that are going to make you a great area coach. This isn't just about doing more of the same stuff. It's a completely different game.
And that's the absolute core of it. The big mindset shift is right here. Your job is no longer about you doing all the things that make a store successful. It's about you building the people, the systems, and the culture that creates success everywhere, especially when you're not even in the building.
So let's get a really clear definition of what this role is all about. An area coach, first and foremost, is a leader of other leaders. You're responsible for driving results, absolutely, but you're also responsible for developing talent across multiple locations. And here's the real kicker. You have to do it all without being physically there all the time. That changes everything. So how in the world do you pull that off?
Well, it all starts with this first pillar, absolute ownership. This is all about taking full-on accountability for every single thing that happens in your area. This isn't just about responsibility, It's a whole philosophy for how you lead when you can't possibly control every little detail.
I mean, really think about this for a second. You've got a store you only see maybe once a week. They have a terrible Saturday night. The numbers are awful. So whose fault is it? The managers? The teams? Was it the weather? An ownership mindset forces us to ask a much harder question. Who really owns that failure?
And the first book that just nails this is Extreme Ownership. Now, it's written by 2 former Navy SEALs, and you might be thinking, what does the military have to do with my business? But trust me, the core principle is universal. It's about getting leaders to stop blaming other people or outside factors and to take total accountability for everything. It builds this incredible mindset of discipline and, no excuses.
So here's the big takeaway from that book, the one idea that really sticks. If one of your stores is failing, it's not just that the manager had a bad week. It's about the system. Did your training system fail? Your hiring system? The culture you're supposed to be building? As the leader, you own the system that allowed that failure to happen in the first place. That's a huge shift in thinking.
But look, ownership isn't just about you. It's got to be about your whole team of general managers. And that's exactly where the 5 dysfunctions of a team is so essential. This book is basically a diagnostic tool. It helps you figure out why your leadership team might be struggling. And spoiler alert, it almost always comes down to things like a lack of trust or avoiding healthy conflict.
So, at the end of the day, what this book helps you do is turn a collection of individual store managers into one single cohesive leadership team. A team that actually holds each other accountable and works together to win across all of your locations. Okay, so you've got ownership locked down. Pillar number 2 is all about creating the backbone for your entire area, and that is building great systems. This is how you get that consistency and discipline that drives excellence in every single location. I mean, this is the million-dollar question, right? You have a top-performing store that does amazing things. How do you bottle that up and get every other store to do it? How do you make sure those excellent habits are happening day in and day out, whether you're standing there watching or not?
The first book for this is Atomic Habits, and it is a total game changer. It argues against trying to make these massive, sweeping changes. Instead, it's all about making tiny 1% improvements. These small habits that, when you repeat them across all your stores, they compound into just massive results. This is your playbook for building the daily routines that create excellence.
So the way you use this is super direct. You take these principles to design these simple, non-negotiable daily habits for every store. From how the opening checklists are done to how every single customer is greeted. You build the system, and then the habits start driving the results almost automatically.
And next up, we have a classic. And it's a classic for a reason. The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People is less about the operational systems in your stores and more about your own personal operating system. As an area coach, man, you're getting pulled in a million different directions. This book is all about how to shift from just being reactive, putting out fires all day, to being proactive and actually focusing on what's most important. So what's the real benefit for you? It gives you a mental framework to manage all those competing priorities across all your stores without letting everything fall into chaos. It's about putting first things first and learning to lead yourself effectively so that you can then lead everyone else.
Okay, and this brings us to our final and honestly, maybe the most important pillar of all, multiplying your talent.
Once you have the ownership culture and the systems in place, your real legacy, your true impact, comes from your ability to grow other leaders. This isn't just a part of the job. This is the job.
I want you to just pause and think about this question for a second, because it is everything. A manager gets things done, but a true leader, a great area coach, develops other people who get things done. One is addition, the other is multiplication. Which one are you?
And this is where the book Multipliers is just so incredibly powerful. It paints this picture of two different kinds of leaders. On one side, you have diminishers, the leaders who kind of drain the energy and intelligence from their teams. But on the other side, you have multipliers. They are genius makers. They make everyone around them smarter and more capable. The whole point is to learn how to unlock the genius that's already on your team, instead of trying to be the smartest person in the room.
And if you write down just one thing from this section, please make it this. Your job is not to be the best restaurant general manager in your area. Your job is to build the best RGMs. You are a talent developer, period.
So, okay, how do you create an environment where great people actually want to stick around and grow? Leaders Eat Last gets into the biology of it all. It shows how high performance isn't driven by fear and pressure, it's driven by trust and a feeling of safety. This book is really your guide to building a culture that people are drawn to.
The real challenge, of course, is that you're not just building a culture inside one four-walled building, you're trying to scale it across an entire region. This book gives you the why behind creating that consistent, supportive environment that literally becomes a magnet for the best talent.
Wow, okay, we have covered a ton of ground here. So the big question is, where do you even start? If you're looking for the quickest, most direct path to really leveling up your leadership, we've boiled it all down into what we're calling the Essential Toolkit.
Here it is. These 3 books are your foundation. You start with Extreme Ownership to build that bedrock of accountability. Then you read Multipliers to truly master your role as the developer of people. And you use Atomic Habits to create the day-to-day discipline that ensures excellence across the board. This is your high-impact starting lineup right here. So, I'll leave you with this last question to think about. When you look at your own leadership right now, which one of these 3 pillars, ownership, systems, or talent, really needs your focus the most? Which one are you going to start building first?